Ashley, let's go to the hotline and let's bring in the head coach of your 6A Division II state champion, Austin Westlake Chaparrals. We're joined by Coach Todd Dodge. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great, Greg. How you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. I imagine that this New Year was maybe even a little bit better than they usually are, especially with another ring on the way.
I tell you what, it was a fun last 2 weeks. It really was between family and friends. It's been a great time.
Well, I want to ask you about this particular Chaps team because you have obviously been around great teams. State championship caliber teams. Obviously, something was different about this team and something was remarkable about this team. Have you been able to put a finger on what it is about this team that makes them so special?
Yeah, well, when you just really look through the lineup, you can start on the defensive side. We were really good at all three levels defensively. Our secondary, led by Sage Luther and Leo Lowe, and those guys have played a ton of games. Our linebacker unit, which was the most absolutely inexperienced group that we've had in a while, stepped up like no other. Braden Duncan came off the JV and had a fabulous year. And the defensive line we thought would be solid. We thought it would be have depth, and it did, led by Bobby Duncan and Austin McClendon. So really at all three levels, and we got great leadership at all three levels, and we were very consistent throughout. Got a little wake-up call in the middle of the season, and after the Lake Travis and the Del Valle games, where we got nicked up a little bit as far as the production against our defense. It was lights out. Not a whole lot of superstars. There won't be a Division I signee coming off of that group. Probably, maybe so, but probably not. Just a bunch of high school football players that had a lot of experience and played really well. And then offensively, we continued to become more and more difficult to defend by personnel as the year went on, where, early in the year, people were not going to allow us to just have it be a Mason Mangum show. Mm-hmm. We were able to turn to Ryan Lindley, and then when both of them, people defensed us to take them away, the young freshman came about. So, and then the running game improved as the year went on. And then we probably got our most versatile player back right in the middle of the season, Jackson Coker. And then that leads me to say we stayed as healthy as any team that I've ever had. And I told them going down the stretch, let's make sure that we use this as a strength of ours, because I've coached teams that have won state championships that have been running on fumes. This team really, where you hope that they peak at the right time, we continue to get better as we went through. So I think that made us very unique.
And, Coach, one guy that I tried to shout out as much as possible on the broadcast that I feel like somehow still doesn't get as much credit as he deserves. And I know you appreciate the work of your defensive coordinator, Tony Salazar, and the work that he does on that side. We talk so much with head coaches, but as well as anybody what a team effort this is from the coaching perspective. And it seems like, this was, and especially there in that state championship game against a high-powered Guyer offense, that seemed like that was a masterclass from your defensive coordinator, Tony Salazar. And I feel like people should know his name, but now if the secret was ever kept, the secret seems like it's out now.
Well, I definitely think that people know who Tony is right here in the greater Austin area. There's no doubt about that. We've been together 8 years now. I would not trade him for anybody in the world. He's going to have an opportunity to be a head coach real soon. And he is just one of the great teachers of the game of football. He has a plan. He does a tremendous job year in and year out of being able to get around to all of our players. We're fortunate enough to be able to allow Tony to just be the defense coordinator. He doesn't necessarily coach a position, so he's able to get around throughout practice to all of our kids, and I think that's hugely important on the defense side of the ball.
We're talking with Todd Dodge, the head coach of the 6A Division II state champion Westlake Chaparrals here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. Coach, I want to go back to that state championship game against Guyer. Obviously, the game changes a little bit when Guyer's outstanding quarterback goes down, but that is still a very dangerous Guyer team on both sides of the ball. But you guys go into halftime up 14-0. I'm interested, what kind of changes, how did you adjust to the game on the fly mid-game to make sure you guys came out with a victory?
Well, we wanted to make sure when we got the ball first the second half, they were going to get it first. Defensively, we got to stop. And then when we got the ball first, we felt it was really, really important to go score on the first possession of the third quarter. We felt like if we could get this thing to 21, we would be in great shape. And frankly, that was kind of the winning drive right there from a standpoint of putting it far enough away. And, it was interesting. Guyer really didn't seem to change their game plan once their quarterback went out. They continued to run their young quarterback on quarterback draws and quarterback counters, stuff like that. But Cadrick Cobbs, one for the ages. As far as production, as far as a class kid, tough. Whoever gets him at the college level, I'm a huge fan. I think all of the people here in Westlake are huge fans of Cadrick Cobbs and just the class that he showed and the toughness. I can promise you this: our defensive players, they celebrated and everything, but they're pretty sore on Sunday morning.
On the other side of the ball, obviously the defense gets a lot of the credit. A shutout in a state championship game is very hard to come by, but your quarterback, Kirkland Michaud, I know won a lot of fans there as well. This was a guy who I know that you were rotating quarterbacks a lot during the year. Michaud ends up getting the job there in the playoffs, and boy, it seemed like he blossomed. What can you tell us? You're a guy who knows a thing or two about quarterbacks. What can you tell us about this young man?
Well, Kirkland was always the quarterback of this class, and when they were in 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, he was always the guy in this class. However, as a freshman, I had to put him on varsity for about half the season because at times he was the next best guy because he was backing up Sam, and we had some injuries and so forth and so on. And then when he started competing with Taylor Anderson, he had a few injuries that kept him kind of behind the 8 ball in that. And then of course Taylor took off, and we go 34-3 with him over a 2-year period. But he just kind of waited his turn. The competition was one that is something that I've never done before. Greg, probably never do again, is rotate 3 quarterbacks. It just was the right thing for us at the time. And it didn't get in the way of our productivity of our offense or the productivity of our team. And I told them all along, I said, if I feel like it does, then I'm going to choose somebody. But for the first 5 weeks of the season, these 3 quarterbacks, Cade Klubnik, Drew Willoughby, and Kirkland Michaud, they were leading the Austin area in touchdown passes, passing yards, the whole deal. They actually, between the 3 of them, are the leading passer in the history of Westlake High School football in every category. It just won't go. None of those records will go by any one of those 3 names, but for this season. And so I'm really proud of all 3 of those kids. Drew Willoughby is a guy that, Drew probably could have done like a lot of kids do and gone and saw I'm not going to get play and transfer, but he wanted to stay and be a Shap. Kirkland Michaud could have been a guy that, could have said, I'm not getting mine early enough in my career. I'm going to go straight baseball. And for that, those 2 kids, those 2 seniors, I love them. I have so much respect for them. And then we've got the young one coming now, Cade Klubnik, who will be an outstanding player. But Kirkland, he threw 47 touchdown passes against 6 interceptions, and he didn't start the first 5 games of the season.
Mm-hmm. It's truly remarkable what your state championship run, and I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about how special it is for your family specifically. For those who don't know, you're married to Elizabeth Neptune Dodge, who is the daughter of the legend down there in Westlake, Ebby Neptune.
Right.
You've won state championships before. This is your 5th state title as a head coach, but to bring a title to Westlake, which I know means so much to your family, what has that been like?
It means everything to my family. It means everything to Elizabeth, to Rebecca, her sister, to all of Evie's grandkids, to my son Riley, to my daughter Molly. They all grew up as little kids coming to Westlake camps, and I, as a young coach in the late '80s, early '90s, mid '90s, would watch the great Westlake teams play. Riley was one of the ball boys on the 1996 team 23 years ago. This was the 50th anniversary of our school here at Westlake. So I can't tell you, it means everything. This was always something that we hoped would happen to us in our career, is to be able to come back to Westlake and be the head coach and athletic director. And, in 2015, when we got beat by North Shore in overtime, I thought, it may never happen. But for this to happen and at this place, it's very, very special, and we're just as happy as we can be.
It's a special time down there at Westlake High School, the 6A Division II state champions with their coach, Todd Dodge. Coach, really appreciate your time. Again, congratulations, and I know it won't be long before you're getting to work on the 2020 season, but enjoy this one, Coach. Congratulations again.
Thanks, Greg. Appreciate you.
There he goes, Todd Dodge, the head coach of the Westlake Chaparrals. And, I wanted to make sure we mention, that he does have such a unique tie to that whole family has such a unique tie to Westlake. Mm-hmm. And I think there were people that, he was at South Lake Carroll, he goes off to North Texas. He ends up at Marble Falls. The job at Westlake comes open. He takes the job at Westlake. And I don't know if people necessarily realize how much that means to his family, mm-hmm. and how much that means to the Dodges and the Neptunes and stuff, that it's super, super cool to see them bring home a state championship there to Westlake. Because, the thing is, Westlake has been one of the very best programs in the state.
Yeah.
Just their 2nd title, though.
Yeah.
Evie Neptune was an unbelievable head coach and athletic director. He didn't win a title there.
Right.
You think about some of the great coaches that have gone through there, they weren't able to do it. But, I know it means a lot to the folks down there in Austin and at Westlake to bring home a state championship. And obviously number 6 or number 5 rather for Coach Dodge. Pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty remarkable.
It seemed a little weird that we'd gone a while without seeing Todd Dodge hoist that trophy.
It had been since 2006.
Yeah. That
was their last title there in 2006.
His last title.
His last title. Well, yeah, his last title at Carroll.
Yeah.
And just really, really remarkable. And cool to see them win a state championship. Congratulations, Coach Dodge. Appreciate his time.